We are live from Indianapolis, live at the NFL Scouting Combine, and we heard from Monti Ossenfort, the architect of the Arizona Cardinals, getting updates on Trey McBride's extension, potential free agents, the NFL draft, and we heard from the Cards head coach, Jonathan Gannon. Johnny?
Yeah, Jonathan Gannon was asked point blank, like, what do you think of Josh Sweat, Milton Williams? These guys are available. We're going to give you the latest ahead of free agency. PHNX Cardinals from the Combine starts now. Hello. Welcome in live from Indianapolis. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. I'm not going to yell.
Nervous?
We got a ton of people around us in Rappaport, five feet away. How dare you? This is your number one Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. This is day one, friends, from Indianapolis, the side of the 2025 NFL Combine, and what a show we have prepared for you. I'm Johnny Venerable. Of course, my co-host, Mr. Brack, Damon, Dawg, behind the mic, producing all the fabulous content. And again, shout out to our guy, head of production, Shane Diefenbach here, helping us get everything situated for a show in which you will not only hear from Jonathan Gannon, the head ball coach, but Monti Ossenfort on many of the burning questions Arizona Cardinal fans have, not only en route to the draft, but ahead of free agency.
There's a Twitter account out there. It's called the Coach Speak Index,
Yeah.
right? And it likes to poke fun about some of these press conferences where there's coach speak, right? Where they tell you a lot, but they tell you nothing at the same time.
Yeah.
Sure, there was a lot of that. There was a ton of that going on. Of course, you're not going to show all your cards this time during draft season or just before free agency opens up and the NFL offseason is off and running. You don't want to, show your hand and potentially telegraph where you're going to want to go. But we did get some insight, some valuable insight as far as pointing where the Cardinals could go this offseason at some key positions. So, it was obviously you're not going to get everything you want, but I think we got enough today. I was pleasantly surprised what we heard from the Cardinals Brain Trust.
Yeah, it's in the show title. He got candid, I thought. And I think you can read a lot into his responses, his comments, specifically about maybe how the Cardinals are going to attack free agency. I mean, let's get into it real quick here. We've got plenty of content from Ossenfort, but I think, Bo, I mentioned to you this off air, and I think it bears repeating that Ossenfort knows that we know that the defensive line is bad, that the defensive line underachieved, right? That the defensive line is lacking talent. This is not a situation in which, like, Ossenfort's on an island and they think it's a ready-made product and everything went great, right? And everybody else is over here saying, are you out of your mind? Like, Ossenfort, like JG, they all have a sense of, like, they need to be better there, that unit let them down. Now, you may not love some of the, talking points he spoke to today, and we're going to get into that, pertaining to certain players that may be back, but, like, they know if they're going to compete for the NFC West in 2025, if they're going to try to get to the postseason for the first time in their tenure, like, that unit has to be leaps and bounds better and specifically more talented. And I do believe that they understand that heading into free agency.
Yeah, they absolutely do. I think the assignment is clear in the third offseason under Jonathan Gannon, Monti Ossenfort and his front office, his scouting department, pro and amateur or collegiate, whatever you want to call it, that they understand that this is the weakness and this is where they have to improve.
Yeah.
As far as in the defensive trenches, as far as coming off the edge, they have to upgrade at that spot. And they attempted to do it last year. They wanted to see a rookie to second-year jump from B.J. Ojulari. Sure, they were robbed of that, but they didn't have a big, contingency plan beyond that, unfortunately, and they didn't get much production from who they deemed or who they paid as their top free agents in the interior of the defensive line, and Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols, who we have updates for. And on the other side of the football, we have an interesting tidbit that Monti Ossenfort dropped about who could potentially be playing at right tackle. But no, I don't think anybody there at this point in the process, because I don't think we can call it a rebuild any longer.
Yeah.
Monti Ossenfort could not hide from the fact that they need to improve on the defensive side. They just have to do it, and they have to invest what they have as far as assets this offseason in salary cap dollars and draft capital in order to do so.
Let's kick things off with Ossenfort. Here's the response to my question about potentially targeting ex-players of Jonathan Gannon who are on full display ahead of free agency.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. You got to look back at each situation is unique. I think that's one of the challenges of free agency with any player that's available is, it's not a situation where you can pick up the phone and call that team and say, hey, tell me about player X, and so I think I'm a big fan of having information, any information that's good information, credible information. So we'll use all those avenues. We've had some other coaches that have come into our program from other teams, and so absolutely we'll ask them and guys that have firsthand knowledge of being with a player. Hey, what are they like on a day-to-day basis? What do they do well? What do they got to improve on? So absolutely, those are all avenues that we'll use and continue to gather that information as we make our decisions going into free agency.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very stock answer. Mm-hmm. And Gannon commented about that, and I thought gave a little bit more detail. We'll have that later in the show, specifically about those players.
Yeah.
But here's the deal with Ossenfort. He's been on the record before, part of the reason they're trepidatious with free agency, like many teams, is the fear of the unknown. Mm-hmm. Well, you don't have that necessarily with Sweat and Milton Williams and Haason Reddick. Maybe they've gone in a position with their career where Cardinals aren't comfortable. In the case of Haason Reddick, right, holding out in the season, questionable character concerns. But Sweat and Milton Williams, they're at the top of their game. But they're also at the top of the food chain for NFL free agency. We talked to a couple sources here in Indy, and point blank, we were asking, are the Eagles going to retain either players? And we got a firm they are not. Both those players are hitting free agency. They expect them to be on other teams, barring a miracle, right? I don't even think the Eagles are going to make an offer to them.
Yeah.
And so what does that look like? Specifically with Sweat, this show, we're told Josh Sweat is going to go to the highest bidder. And we assume the same thing for Milton Williams, but that was especially encouraged and emphasized with Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat views that as he made an investment last year with the Eagles, Bo, that he said, I'm going to come back, I'm going to play on a one-year contract, I'm going to cash in, and now he believes that this is the time to do so. The figures that are being thrown around for the two players, Sweat upwards of $18 million a season, and then Milton Williams could command, as that disrupting five technique, over $20 million.
$20 million to play half the defensive snaps, but
tough.
Look, make an impact, right? And that's what you're looking for. Impact makers in this draft. And it's not just the chum that's going to hit, the free agent feeding frenzy when it hits the waters of the NFL offseason this year. It's going to be, as you said, the top stuff. It's like the caviar, right? That's what we're looking at. But as far as the production, you can find the red flags all over the place, but that's what free agency is.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to take a swing, though. And you've got to – I think that's what we learned today. We didn't learn this today. I think we all kind of have an inclination of this and understanding, Gannon talking about how the familiarity, that's a part of the puzzle. You got it down on the table with the rest of the pieces that you already have, right? You can see the production, right? You can watch the film. And then how does it fit in your scheme? How does it fit with your players, your coaching staff? And so it does kind of be able to kind of check off that box. It helps there. And not only with the players that played under Gannon, but the guys that played under Justin Frye that are coming through the draft. It's helpful to kind of know that and take away that. So when they get in your building and you sign a fat check to them, that you're not going to get bamboozled and next thing you know, this is not the person that was at the job interview, right? I mean, how often do you go on a first couple dates and then you get comfortable and then the next a different person is there, different personality, right? So we'll see, what free agency yields, but you hope that there's less of a reluctance for this front office to spend the dollars because I think this roster now is in a place that merits spending.
I agree, and I think the media agreed. I know we started with the show with it, but every other question for Ossenfort was in relation to free agency. Mm-hmm. And what is your strategy? Do you think you've been afforded that opportunity to go out and get players? And here's one thing he's consistent on is he views free agency a way to supplement his needs and believes they're going to get better within the next couple of weeks. They're not going to cherry pick and look for minor tweaks. I do feel you're asked consistently in our DMs on Twitter, Like, are they going to make a major move? I still believe they're going to. I think they're going to sign a player of note to a robust contract, not just because we have vices on the line. I genuinely believe that. A left guard, a D tackle, an edge rusher. Now, it may not be our choice.
Yeah.
It may not be our favorite, right? We each have our preferences. I think you and I would both be on the same page. Like, Milton Williams, if you could have him, would be our favorite. But we also got some intel. Like, it feels like both Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones, and I know people assume this already, sound like both are going to be back next year.
Right.
So it's like, I do think the Cardinals understand, like, $75 million plus the salary cap increase. You're not paying anybody yet anyway. I think they're going to get a top 20 free agent minimum. But if it's going to be at a position that we're, kind of quantifying, that remains to be seen. I think connecting the dots with Gannon and his ex-players is something we do consistently.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't shake out like that, especially if they deem Reddick not character-wise what they want to dabble, Sweat and Milton Williams not what they want to pay. Then it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do at that point?
Well, look, I want you to follow the tea leaves a little bit closer here than instead of just playing the easy Cracker Barrel connect the dots that my 3-year-old can do.
Okay, appreciate it.
The defensive line is just how I'm seeing it. That the Arizona Cardinals, the price tag for Milton Williams is just going to be obscenely high.
Yeah.
And there's going to be multiple teams that are going to be willing to pay that price. And it's going to be tough to separate yourself to win a guy like Milton Williams over to get him to come to the desert. I just think that it's just going to be, you're going to be, like, you hope they're in the negotiations, but the way that this offseason is set up, and Monti Ossenfort said that, like, what he likes about this defensive line class is the quantity of it, and it hasn't been there the last 2 years, that why not go out there and get a controllable defensive lineman? And it does, that immediately helps your room as well. It's not the guy, the impact maker that we saw in the last Sunday of the season in Super Bowl Sunday in Milton Williams, but I think you have an opportunity to develop your own. But I think that, like, now you're starting to see materialize like it did last year. Remember this time last year, we're hearing about Justin Matabuke. He's going to be tagged, and he's not going anywhere from Baltimore. And now we're hearing, like, Osa, he's putting pictures up on IG, and now, like, Osi Odigizua is not going to be on the free agent market likely so it's going to be Milton Williams and a ton of suitors for him. And then, but you have other avenues that you're more comfortable.
But see, Cardinal fans don't want to hear that. Like, why?
That's going to be that's the reality of it.
Why is that a reality? Why can't they go and pay Milton Williams what he's asking? Because they have the money. That should be the mindset. I'm not saying you're wrong. I believe that that's what's going to transpire.
Because I don't think that's how they want to operate.
But here's the tough part about this whole thing. We talked about Darius, Justin Jones, Bilal Nichols, B.J. Ojulari. You're counting on those 4 players.
Yeah.
What's the common denominator? Every one of them was hurt this past year. I mean, like, you roll the dice and hope maybe 3/4 are healthy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, hey, I'm relying on this wide receiver core of DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, and Rondale Moore.
How'd that work out?
Those guys were often in the training room, or there were different variables and factors that took them off the field. But yeah, you hope that doesn't become a consistent issue. It hadn't been with Jones, it hadn't been with Nichols. There's still some skepticism just because there wasn't any impact made by either of those 2 players when they were healthy. And then, B.J. Ojulari has now been back-to-back seasons where he's had injuries take him off the playing field. So, I understand the fan base, and I'm with them. You can't sit there and rely on those guys, especially at edge. I think edge, it's like, you look at edge, I think you got to spend some cap dollars absolutely there. And you got to absolutely spend some cat dollars on the guard position.
Yeah, I think we're at the point now where you assume if Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones are back, and Darius Robinson and Dante Stills are back, it only leaves so much room for new pieces. And I think, we would hope that they take advantage of defensive line in this draft, D tackle. The edge position, though, it's like, if it's not Josh Sweat, who is it? Like, are we going to be sitting here in 2 weeks? Is Baron Browning going to be re-signed? Are they going to go through free agency and get a guard like Will Fries and Baron Browning and do this and just say, hey, we're good?
And re-sign a couple of guys?
Yeah. I mean,
that is Browning, yeah.
That would be incredibly disheartening, I think, for Cardinal fans to hear. You mentioned prioritizing their own. We got that bite from Monti Ossenfort, Damon Dawg, on his strategy here in the coming days before free agency.
exactly know which one you're talking
Okay,
about here, Sean.
no worries.
I got Jonah Williams, I got MHJ, I got Trey, I got the quarterbacks.
No worries. Ossenfort emphasized you can find it on our Twitter, Bo, and you cut this one that they're going to look to add their own pieces here in the coming weeks before free agency.
And we'll get to the Trey McBride and a couple of the other things that Monti made sure to say prioritize. He said it's going to be big for them to prioritize keeping some of their impending free agents in the organization. And you see, I think, a couple candidates, and we've gone through this exercise throughout this offseason of who we think should be priority keeps beyond who they've already decided to add to extensions, and James Conner and Budda Baker and Yelda Froholt, who are under contract, to a guy they talked to a couple weeks ago, and we'll see how they feel about Will Hernandez and Evan Brown, or both Will Hernandez and Evan Brown, or Kelvin Beachum, who just seems like make that deal happen.
Yeah.
And then on the defensive side of the football, you got Baron Browning and a couple other guys that really are just filling out roster spots to caliber players.
Yep. We're going to talk about the flip side of the line of scrimmage. What's the latest on Jonah Williams? Plus
Should
more.
I say this real quick? And I don't think Kazir White is in the mix on that.
No, doesn't sound like it.
Yeah.
Sounds like the Cardinals want to get younger, more athletic at linebacker. We're back right after this here. PHNX Cardinals live from the Combine. Even though we're in the Midwest, I've been sure to bring my premium sunglasses for not a premium price, Shady Rays, right? Sun is out, even though the temperatures are a little more frigid than I would care for. But that's the beauty of Shady Rays. They're perfect for any environment. Out west, in the desert, or here in the Midwest, in Indy. Get ready right now with an independent sunglasses company offering a wide, world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames, crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. And trust me, they are the most premier sunglasses that I've ever got in terms of durability, in terms of fashion, wearability. Under $40 on average for a pair. Using the bonus code PHNX, I've got over 4 pairs myself. I'm never going back. And give, you try them for yourself. You don't love them, they'll send them back for free. Get another pair, swap them out. Exclusive for our listeners right now, Shady Rays is giving out the best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use the bonus code PHNX. 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people, Bo.
Love Shady Rays and love our friends over at Waymo. Waymo, if you're not using Waymo, then I think you're doing it wrong. I was actually, it was bittersweet. I was a little bit upset that we couldn't get the fellas together in a Waymo to the airport. Of course, our VP of content, Leah Merrill, was fantastic. Gave us a ride to the airport, but I was kind of upset I couldn't jump into the Waymo. We couldn't enjoy it all together. It was unbelievable. I mean, the ride-hailing service, it's unmatched. I mean, I've had 2 Waymo rides in my life, and it's going to be, I'm sure by the end of it, it's going to be in the thousands because I'm a changed man. It is Waymo. I'm absolutely taking it home from the airport. I won't have anybody stop me from doing that this time. Whether it's just by myself or if you guys want to be riding along with me, we can be one of the 150,000 trips per week that they make across San Francisco, LA, and Phoenix. Waymo, the first company to serve fully autonomous ride with no human behind the wheel in 2015. Waymo has over 40 million miles of real-world driving experience. That would get us back and forth to Phoenix thousands of times. Check it out. Download the Waymo One app today and ride today.
Join us online, YouTube. Hit that like button. Subscribe to PHNX Sports wherever you get your podcasts. Ossenfort speaking about free agent strategy, also speaking about some internal options for the Arizona Cardinals. We assume, like many, Jonah Williams, who suffered a knee injury twice last season, the latter seemed extreme, Bo, and now we're fast-forwarding here on February 25th. It looks like there's a potential for Williams to stick around beyond just one season.
Yeah, Jonah's working hard. Jonah's working extremely hard as he did this season. I mean, I think a little bit of it is underrated about what Jonah did this season, about how he was able to work himself back. It would have been real easy for Jonah to just say, "Hey, I'm going to sit back and let this heal up," and for him to come back and play at a pretty high level when he came back. But yeah, really not going to get into specifics on his injury. But he is progressing well, and looking forward to having him back next year.
It is a stark difference between the way Monti Ossenfort just broke down Jonah Williams hours ago and how he broke down DJ Humphries a year ago. Because we asked him about DJ Humphries, who suffered an injury late in the season, and he was just like, "Yeah, that's tough, man." Basically, and I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, "Yeah, it's tough, and it's just unfortunate. It's the bad side of the business part of this." And days later, weeks later, DJ Humphries, you got the press release. He was released by the Arizona Cardinals,
Yeah.
and there he's just point blank saying, "Looking forward to having Jonah, help us out next week and helping them win games next season." So it's kind of different than like what you saw, Jonah Williams at the facility at the end of the year, and didn't look like he was going to be somebody that could be ready in time, but apparently making great progress and somebody that they're going to rely upon at the right tackle position. So how does that change your perspective on this offensive line, Johnny?
Well, I mean, Jonah Williams, this is basically his last year under contract anyway, so maybe they feel like it's better just to keep him for depth purposes, even if he's not ready to play. I think if they sign Calvin Beachum, they're telling you that Jonah Williams' injury, he's not going to be ready right away. Like, because who are you going through the offseason with? Even if you draft somebody in the second, third round as a developmental right tackle, like you need a starter to go through off seasons, OTAs, and mini camp. And I think if Jonah Williams is ready to go, then Calvin Beachum will not be back. If Calvin Beachum is back, I think that it's a platoon, at least early on. Calvin Beachum, you could argue, outplayed Jonah Williams at times last year. You also have to remember, like, Jonah Williams was signed by Monti Ossenfort. So maybe there is a much more of a desire to keep your own instead of cutting bait. Whereas DJ Humphries, like, Monti Ossenfort didn't sign that contract. He's like, he wasn't the general manager, when that contract was signed under Steve Keim. So it might have been easier just to say, hey, it's an unfortunate knee injury. And we're also speculating grossly on the severity of Jonah Williams' knee injury compared to DJ Humphries. We haven't gotten confirmation. I asked Monty. He couldn't comment on what the injury was, the severity. But, I mean, if he's on the team, then they feel like he's going to play at some point. So I guess, like, not the worst situation in the world. Calvin Beachum and he platoon, or he's ready to go.
Here's my big concern. You keep Jonah Williams. I was kind of excited about the prospect of upgrading at that position. And now it's like, okay, you can make me feel comfortable about this, but to an extent. It has a ceiling on it. So it's like, okay, best case scenario, you get Jonah Williams back and hopefully a healthier version of him than you saw last season, right?
Yeah.
But, we saw some of the offensive line play decline after he came back. And then also, okay, so if it's Jonah, you re-sign Calvin Beachum, and you've got Christian Jones, who has a game under his belt now and had the experience of preparing last season. Like, I'll feel comfortable with that. But I do want, in some way, upgrades on this offensive line. So that's only pointing to one spot that could potentially be upgraded, and that's like the left guard spot.
Yeah, I mean, and we've talked about it. Like, you're hedging your bet. You feel like that's going to be the area that they turn to in free agency and throw money at a guy, for lack of a better term.
Are you okay if they run it back?
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. It's the best coach position unit on the team. Now they lose their coach.
Yeah.
But, I mean.
Oh, just that minor detail. It's a completely different guy.
I am high on Paris Johnson Jr. and Yelda Froholt. I think Isaiah Adams is going to have a second-year jump. I mean, we talked to JG about some of these guys having second-year jumps. Like, there's a who's who name of guys who are going to have big impacts in year two. I trust Calvin Beachum. Like, really, right left guard. They've shown me every offseason under Ossenfort. Sign Yelda, solid. Will Hernandez, solid. Evan Brown, solid. Like, they have a keen eye. Maybe this is Dave Sears. I don't know. To identify veteran offensive linemen that can come in and play at a high level in Drew Petzing's scheme. So even with Clayton Adams gone, like, I don't doubt that to continue. And if they want to just platoon right tackle for a year, Kyler Murray's mobility helps himself, where he's susceptible to pressure is from the interior. So left guard would make sense. So I also, like, it doesn't bother me, like, if you keep Jonah Williams, then you don't necessarily have to burn another resource. If Jonah Williams is healthy, we've always kind of been on the mindset, like, he should get to play next year. But if Jonah Williams we could make a list.
What about the idea that when Jonah Williams came back, Will Hernandez was gone for the season, and he's playing with a rookie third rounder next to him?
Yeah.
Did his play slip because he's there? And like, we're encouraged by Isaiah Adams, and Isaiah Adams obviously could pop over to left guard too, and
he could
sign somebody at right guard or re-sign Miho. Like, there's a lot of options. I guess it's like the least of my concern just because there's so many options. But at the same time, like I did kind of get excited about maybe the grass being greener, but maybe you have to just focus on where your true weakness is, and it's on the other side of the ball.
Listen,
as far as personnel,
they'll take a tackle if they love one. I don't think that this behooves them because then that whomever you take is probably backing up Harris for a year. I mean,
not 16.
No, I think if if Jonah's healthy, I mean, like we all agree, like this needs to be a front seven player.
Yeah.
At 16.
Yeah.
I mean, we broke it down with Daniel Jeremiah's top 50. They're going to be able to sit back. Ossenfort was brimming year to year. Like he basically admitted, like I've been GM for 2 years. We've never had a surplus of defensive linemen available until now, right? Last year it was receivers. The year before that it was tackle and corners. And so I don't want them to use that as a crutch, not to sign one in free agency. But my biggest concern with the entire conversation that we're having from first segment to this one, Jonah Williams and B.J. Ojulari and all Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols, all these guys were hurt last year.
Yeah.
I don't want the Cardinals to say, hey, all of our problems are going to be fixed. Just leaning on the guys that we signed, maybe overpaid last year, who were hurt.
Yeah.
Like you might get good production, or you might get average to below, or they might get hurt again. I just think let's not.
It's too dependent on the guys developing and making jumps.
Let's not compound a bad decision with another bad decision. The best general manager was just sitting 20 feet to our right and Howie Roseman, an hour ago. What does he do when he flubs up, makes a mistake? I'm done. Throw it in the trash, for lack of a better term. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to get better. I mean, there's talk here that the Eagles are going to go after Myles Garrett. I mean, that's just what they do. Now, they've earned that, but they've
got the best roster in the league.
They've passed on Justin Jefferson. They pivot and trade for A.J. Brown.
That's a long time ago. They've come a long way since that.
Right. No, I'm just saying, he made a bad decision.
Yeah.
And he didn't say, I'm going to just double and triple down on Jalen Reagor. I'm going to give Jalen Reagor every opportunity. I still believe in this kid. It's like, no. Let's be smart and say, these signings didn't work out. It's not an indictment of me as a GM. I still believe in my process, but we're going to go in a different direction, a better one, with better talent and better players. Yeah. Nobody wants to hear, as a Cardinal fan, we're running it back with Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols and Jonah Williams when there's better players available. Because in all actuality, you're asking again for disappointment.
Yeah. Looking at the chat, Shaft saying, I love the idea. Offensive line, Paris, Adams, Froholt, Trey Smith, and Jonah Williams.
Sure.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too bad. Or you can just kind of insert one of the top guards on the free agent market. But then I see Claymore Jones saying, we don't want Jonah back. Yeah, it's a fascinating debate. But, like, could you put Jonah back in a position where he's working with a vet on that right side instead of a youngster like Jonah or like Isaiah Adams? But I think they've got more options though than they do on the defensive side of the football, and that needs to be the primary focus going forward.
I'm not concerned about the offensive line. I think that unit is too well coached. I think I've said this before. Petzing, I think his scheme, one of the coups for it, the positives, I think it's O-line friendly. I'm concerned about what is this general manager going to do when the lights are brightest in 2 weeks, when it's time to open up the checkbook and it's time to get uncomfortable making big ticket additions. Nobody wants to hear about slumming it in the middle section or the bottom section of free agency. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to see Baron.
Got Milton Williams at home. It's like
you don't. You have nothing close to that. Right? We got a PS5 at home. Nope, that's an Atari. That's a comparison of. Baron Brownie.
We got Josh Sweat at home. David Collins?
I think
Dr. Z or whatever the Kroger brand of Dr. Pepper is.
Do you feel like they will use yeah, that's a good one. How about the cereal that comes in a plastic bag? Do you feel like that
with no toy?
Yeah, I know. That Josh Sweat and his deficiencies, they will use that as a way to say, like, we are not going to get in the business of paying for somebody like that is not like a ready-made product.
But then I think that there needs to be ultimate pushback of, if not him, then who?
There's literally no one else.
Free agent-wise, right.
He and Haason Reddick are it.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the list. We've gone through it. Like, Malcolm Kuntz is not a realistic option for a team that's already got
an option. He's not a realistic, top pass rusher. He's a guy that, you would take on as
a backup.
As a backup rotational guy at first, and then has a higher ceiling than some of these backups.
Khalil Mack. There it is. Damon's got it on the list here. I mean, like Haason Reddick and Josh Sweat, Malcolm Kuhn should not be on there. Khalil Mack's 100 years old. I mean, the big names are at the bottom there. Reddick, Osa, Trey Smith, Josh Sweat, Milton Williams. I mean, the Cardinals need to sign one of those players. The Cardinals need to come out of free agency with one of those 5 players. I mean, the Chicago Bears should not get to with their fan base say Trey Smith is ours, and then Ryan Poles be like, okay, that's what the Bear fans want. I'm familiar with Trey Smith. We're going to sign Trey Smith. Like, it shouldn't be that easy. But it sounds like, by all accounts, they're going to try to target Trey Smith. We did our best to try to get Monti Ossenfort to say, like, yeah, we're in on those guys. We're pursuing ex-Gannon players, but he's not going to say that.
Right.
And I know a lot of people read into his comments say like they're uncomfortable with it. And listen, I didn't read into his comments like that, but I'm gonna tell you, you're not wrong in the sense of like until I see Ossenfort do it, then I'm not going to believe that he's going to.
Do it once. Try it on once. Unbutton that just a little bit further than you're comfortable with. You know?
You get one shot at this.
You know?
Monty.
Let your hair down. Do it. Just see how it feels.
I think it would feel great.
Probably the wrong guy to say like
right. I keep doing that. I did that with Petsing too. That's why I tried to do the unbutton, maybe the shirt a little bit more.
Let's hear more from Monti Ossenfort talking about I think he's got some really good insight pertaining to this quarterback room. Actually, you know what? Should we table that?
Yeah, we could just talk about some of our great sponsors real quick.
Yeah.
He does talk about the quarterback room, and what you're about to hear from Monti Ossenfort, it wasn't just, hey, we like our guy and we're moving on.
But first, let's talk about our friends at Bet365. Never ordinary. No prop bets relating to the Arizona Cardinals yet with our friends at Bet365, but perfect opportunity right now. NBA is back. Not the Suns, but the NBA in general. Tip-off Tuesday. Tuesday, right now, it's never ordinary with Bet365. Place a qualifying bet, parlay totaling $20 or more on Tuesday NBA games. Get up to $25 in bonus bets. Now, terms and conditions apply. All you got to do, friends, right now to take full advantage, download the app, use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends at Bet365. So fired up to be partnered up with Bet365. They do such a fantastic job. And I'm always so surprised on how many free boosts, prop bets, bonus bets they have. But right now, if you were someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. Got to be 21 years and older and physically located back home in Arizona, Bo.
I was unusually excited to put together my bathroom kit this trip because I loaded up on our friends from Mando. Mando's men's deodorant brand, hyper-focused on keeping every aspect of the man's body smelling fresh and clean. And it's not just, the pits. It's your belly button. Sometimes that can get a little stanky. Also those balls, butt cracks, grundles, and more. But I was excited because I loaded up on Mando. I said, hey, Mando. And I made that decision to order online, got myself some Mando, went to the website and used Mando, and I loaded it up, and I got some unbelievably great smelling new odors from our friends over at Mando, because they've got great, as far as what they're doing, bourbon leather. I was like, I want to smell like bourbon leather.
Tremendous.
I want to smell like that. I want to smell like Clover Woods and Mount Fuji and Pro Sport. Fantastic what's going on. Mando Starter Pack. That's what I tapped into. Perfect for new customers just like you. It comes in a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like the mini body wash and deodorant wipes, because we're out here all day and you're not going to keep up that good smell all day. You get those wipes and boom, you're back in working order. Head over to shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them that PHNX Cardinals sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando.
Hey, Mando. Hey, everybody in the chat, drop a like on this video.
Does Shane even care about this program? Did you see that? He
just
thinks he's better than everybody
sloppy
else.
boy walking behind the backdrop here. This is a professional.
This is a pro operation, 100%, Johnny.
Hopefully he's walking his way all the way out of our lives.
This is a professional broadcast. Jeez, things are taking a dark turn here.
You don't mess with our show.
That's right. It's sacred. What was not sacred was the quarterback conversation during both pressers, in which you got 2 very different answers from the head coach and the general manager. Now, I'm not trying to stir things up. They're on the same page. But the last question I got into Monti Ossenfort was about just a generic statement. Like, do you think you're going to add to the quarterback room, free agent, draft, or otherwise? Listen to Monti Ossenfort talk about it in generalities, but listen closely. Here's Ossenfort.
Yeah, I think everything's on the table. Yeah, I think everything's on the table. We're going to look at every means, whether it's quarterback or any other position. I think you can never have enough competition at any spot. You know, we never want to get to a point where we're just handing jobs out. And so we're going to look to add, whether that's free agency, the draft. Yeah, I think that's absolutely an avenue at quarterback room. You can add any position on our team that we're going to look to add.
I want your opinion first on that. I'll let everybody evaluate in the chat Ossenfort's comments.
Yeah, I think that that's a position that we've been talking about for a couple of weeks. Sorry for those who don't want to talk about the most important position in sports, but that you need to continue to tweak, revamp, and supplement throughout, your stages. All the good NFL GMs do it. Like when he was in New England, they were doing it seemingly every other draft process where they're tapping into guys like Matt Castle, Jimmy G, Jacoby Brissett, and making sure that they had options beyond Brady with the Pats. And I think that the Cardinals, they're going to stick with Kyler Murray for 2025, and they want to have more of a contingency plan, not just for his backup in that room, but also potentially for the future of this team.
Yeah, I totally agree. And here's what I'll say. Like, we reported that Ossenfort called the Giants multiple times, or called Danny Dimes' agent after he was released by the Giants multiple times.
Yep.
Like, tried to get Danny Dimes to sign with the Cardinals. They have been active on trying to revamp the backup position behind Kyler with Desmond Ridder. They drafted Clayton Tune. Now I think you're going to see those efforts go up a notch. That wasn't a comment or comments from Ossenfort non-committal to Kyler Murray, but it's certainly, like, you listen to the Bengals general manager talk about Joe Burrow, it's just a little bit different vibe. They're year to year with Kyler Murray. I see a lot of people saying they should trade Kyler, they should get rid of him. Kyler Murray's a starter in 2025, and we all hope he has a big year. But, like, again, and I feel like we try to do our best to, like, just be transparent. You should not be surprised if they add a notable name into this quarterback room in free agency, or more specifically, if they fall in love with the quarterback and take him within the top 100. Like, it's not sacred. They want to be able to have a contingency plan if Kyler gets hurt, if Kyler's play falls off, right? If they wanted to move in a different direction in 2026. That's what it's about. And it's only going to grow louder until Kyler Murray is able to differentiate himself into the upper tier of quarterbacks once again. Like, get ready, and I know we hate ranking season. Mm-hmm. Kyler Murray is going to consistently be ranked anywhere between like 12, 14, all the way to like 18, 19, 20. And so when you're in that position, and you're like, oh, okay, I have a guy who can help me win games, and we're a fan of him as a person, as a player, but you don't have a Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or, even like a Baker right now. I mean, that's the reality of the situation for the Arizona Cardinals. I would be disappointed in Monti Ossenfort if he came out after watching Kyler Murray struggle and say, like, it's Kyler's job 1,000%. This is what we're going to be doing for the foreseeable future. It's like, well, hang on a second. 2-5 down the stretch, inconsistent turnovers, not enough touchdown passes. Like, the accountability piece is there with this staff and with this front office. And I hope Kyler Murray responds and plays the best football of his career in 2025. But you can't not listen to that and think to yourself, like, oh, so they're adding a player at least this offseason.
Well, they need to. And they tried to do it last offseason, and they tried to do it the previous offseason. Like, they tried to help the quarterback room, and they've done it unsuccessfully.
Yeah.
It's time to take a more aggressive approach. And I think that that's what, at least from his words here, that they are going to take those steps. But you have to show me it's got to be beyond, hey, this guy, Desmond Ridder, like, we kind of like him. Let's just kick the tires on him. And then he's just an unmitigated disaster.
Mm-hmm. Like, can't play.
Yeah, you just can't play. I mean, there was questions coming out of school. There continue to be questions, throughout his early professional career, and it just never materialized. Like, give me somebody that you can at least work with. Give me a good piece of clay to mold here.
And again, like, can you, man? I think has a good comment here, and I think this kind of encapsulates, like, there are schools of thought with Kyler Murray that we break down consistently. It's it's almost like politics, right? There's a segment of the fan base that has been anti-Kyler Murray forever, and you don't want to empower those people because Kyler's done a lot of good. And then there's a segment of the fan base that says Kyler Murray can do no wrong, and it's the Cardinals' fault, and they don't know what they're doing, and Kyler Murray is the godsend, and he should be the quarterback forever. And then I think the general consensus is people in the middle, like Canyon Man and other people, like, I'm pulling for Kyler Murray. I want this to work out. I've seen him at his highest, right? But something's missing here.
Yeah.
And they can either pull from it within, and he can take that next step in year 6, 7, or if it doesn't work out, like, you cannot, and I don't want to use the term waste, but you cannot blow opportunities of prime Paris Johnson Jr. and prime Marv and Trey McBride. It's just with a guy who potentially has the ceiling. This is the year to find out if Kyler Murray can take it to that next level. And this show is pulling for him to do that, as is his head coach. Yeah. Nobody wants it more than JG for K1.
Yeah, it was, I think you would call us like center K1 versus center anti-K1.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's sliding scale, but then you've got, those firmly in each quarter. And I think that, the performance down the stretch centralized a lot of the fan base and now need to see something more from their franchise quarterback. The one thing I think you can kind of take out of the equation, at least for me, is the contract. I think that's just the price of an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
You need a starting quarterback. That's the price. People get blown away. But that's the going rate.
And it's not hampering them from doing anything else.
It's not. They've got plenty of cap space.
You brought up a great point earlier today, not to interrupt you, but just talking about like
you're saying I brought up a great point.
Let's do it. Like so many of these teams have to make a decision about, can we re-sign X player? Should we just take the comp pick?
Yeah.
Can we let T. Higgins walk? Can we do X, Y, and Z? And you're like, think about the position Ossenfort was. For like 2 straight off seasons, they have had nobody in terms of like other teams would want to sign for comp picks. Like, that's, as much as I want to be critical, and I will be, of Ossenfort if he drops the ball in free agency, it's like, think about where this roster was. It was like scraping the bottom of the barrel. Nobody wants these players. And I think you're going to see that here. A lot of the guys that are organically just done with their contracts with the Cardinals now coming up, like, they ain't signing in wave 1 of free agency.
Look how in this cap league, how teams like Philly and Baltimore and San Francisco, like how they have this process where they draft good players, they develop them, they either extend them or they let them walk, and then they get comp picks. And they're consistently in that process. And like they're able to let guys sometimes walk, hit free agency, and then they're able to absorb a comp pick, just like San Francisco, just like all these teams. And that's how you're able to, acquire draft capital and make maybe some riskier trades, have a little sweeteners as far as deals go when premier players hit the trade market. It just gives you that much more, power in order to do these. But man, was the cupboard completely bare and continued to be as Monti Ossenfort took over the reins of this organization. It was just an absolute mess. Like, it was, maybe think about that, was listening to the Chargers GM Joe Ortiz, and people were talking about how bad the Chargers roster was. But now he's got the opportunity potentially to have guys like Khalil Mack walk and still get a comp pick in return. He's not going to go away empty-handed.
One of the few assets that Ossenfort inherited that's proving his salt and then some, Trey McBride. The GM offered some additional insight pertaining to McBride and when we could expect an extension for big number 85.
Absolutely. Trey's a guy that he does everything the right way. He's a good leader for us on and off the field. He works, he prepares, and he produces. And so, Trey's definitely a guy that we want to continue to be in our program and continue to see what he can do for us offensively.
Monty, it's easy to connect.
I don't know. Josh, I can't really give you a timeline on that. But yeah, certainly a guy that we would love to extend. Just again, back to Darren's comment, just to give us certainty of what we're dealing with from a cap perspective. So yeah, absolutely, Trey is a priority for us.
Ossenfort compared Trey to James Conner and Budda Baker, who just got deals.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to get done. I don't know if the timing matters to you and I. Like, I don't know if we expect him to get it done before free agency or in April or in June. But I think you and I would both be surprised if he didn't have a new deal before the season started.
But it's different. I mean, it's something that you want to see your general manager do. Like, this is not, soon to be 29-year-old Buda Baker and 30-year-old James Conner and them not getting top dollar at their respective position. This is going to be a guy that's going to command top dollar because he's earned it at his position. Can they write that check? Can they get this done? Can they get it done in a timely fashion? I think that's just something you want to learn about your GM.
Well, we're going to learn a lot about him,
yeah,
I feel like.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't have. I'm with you. Like, I've got a lot of confidence that this is going to get done. Like, all parties involved. Like Trey told us on Radio Row, like he expects them to start conversations soon. And then Monti Ossenfort has outlined there. He's motivated to get a deal done.
Yeah. We're motivated to get some likes. We're slacking on the likes, friends. Let's get some likes here from Radio Row. The goal is 500 here. We got Jonathan Gannon, JG on K1 and more. Plus, he was pretty candid as it relates to some of his ex-Eagles. You'll hear from JG up next, PHNX Cardinals. But first, listen, I'm here in Indy. I'm having a swell time with my pals, but I'm a little homesick for my home base, Gila River Resorts and Casinos, specifically Wild Horse Pass. I already got my wife texting me. She's like, when are we going to go back to Gila? Have you heard about this Lamborghini giveaway? I'm like, I heard about it. I'm trying to enter. They won't let me enter. I'm slumming it right now. I want the chance to win that $350,000 Lamborghini giveaway. You can win it. You got one more opportunity right now. Join every Friday, 7 p.m. at Gila. And then, of course, culminating Saturday, March 1st at Wild Horse Pass this Saturday. They're giving out our friends at Gila a $350,000 Lamborghini. That's big time. Don't miss your chance. This is your opportunity to experience the thrill of luxury and speed. Again, we got one more shot this week. And again, they got other giveaways, bonus plays. They've got cash. They've got different kind of entities you can win. Plus, they've just got a robust menu, casino, rooftop bar. It's first class. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com, Bo, for more details, or check out the link in the description below.
We were the most stylish traveling group yesterday, making our way from Phoenix to Indianapolis because we all were repping our Branded Bills.
Yeah.
Our Branded Bills, PHNX collaboration, and you can rep Branded Bills as well. Your company, your team, and save money while doing so. 20% off your first order. That's right. You save money immediately with Branded Bills, of course, a local company in Mesa, but it is worldwide, and it elevates your brand. With Branded Bills, the perfect headwear and apparel, whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies, tees, Branded Bill has you covered with performance and style. You got to check them out. They've got their collegiate collection, of course. You got so many of these athletes out here like Cam Skattebo from Arizona State or T-Mac from University of Arizona. You can rep your school, your alma, with Branded Bills. Local company, as I said, Mesa. Head to brandedmails.com. That's brandedbills.com and use the code PHNX for 20% off your first order. PHNX at checkout will get you 20% off at brandedbills.com.
Big thanks to everybody in the chat. Again, watching live, hit us with a like. That would help exponentially. We got so much good content en route the rest of this week. We got Fran Duffy. We are hopeful we're going to chat with our guy Benjamin Albright tomorrow, figure out where some of the key dominoes are going to fall as it relates to free agency and the draft, and some surprises for you. So buckle up, as our guy JG would say. And speaking of Jonathan Gannon, he also took to the podium this afternoon to talk about a flurry of different subjects, but I'd be remiss if we didn't start with his comments with regard to a couple of his ex-Eagles players. Here's JG on free agency.
Well, yeah, I mean, anytime you have like real-time experience with a player, you kind of know a little bit. Free agency is just like all players. There's a little bit of unknown with all those guys. That decreases the unknown with me because I was with them for a couple of years. So we'll look at all the players in free agency, see if they fit us. I know there's a money component to everything, but at the end of the day, we'll do what's best for us and try to acquire guys that are going to help us win.
Piece of the puzzle. Knows those guys, familiarity, knows they can fit the scheme. I think that gives them an edge, but at the same time, the money's the big part there.
I mean, they signed Kazir White. That was his first notable signing 2 years ago because of
a modest 2-year, $10 million
a little bit different. I mean, Milton Williams, Josh Way, if you're just joining us, are going to get $18 to $20 million a piece.
Yeah.
And listen, they deserved it. They cashed in at the right time. I still go back to, I know you guys are still sour on Haason Reddick. I still think like if Haason Reddick could show up on a 2-year deal to rebuild his image, even our guy Fran Duffy was like, that just makes too much sense. The Cardinals are so egregious rushing the passer. If Reddick is motivated and wants to come here, like I still think that is their best bet. If you're hell bent on signing Damon like a guard of note, if you're gonna go out and sign Will Fries to $50 to $60 million, supplement then with Haason Reddick, and then we at least can feel good about some momentum on that defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, I've been Team Reddick the whole time. Bo's the only one that hates Haason Reddick.
I don't hate him. I think
As a
that's
person,
really
I heard.
strong. Very strong. Actually,
I heard it was like a personal thing that Bo and Reddick had.
That's
back in the
fair.
day.
I've also heard that.
Yeah, that's none of that's true. It's all
Okay.
fabricated. But
Okay.
I mean, you haven't seen anything really from Haason Reddick outside of declining production in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So a little concern, and then obviously traditionally at his age, he's going to be 31 this upcoming summer. You see it kind of fall off cliff for edge rushers.
Dana in the chat saying, if you want Reddick, just move up for Jalen Walker, younger version of the same player. That's music to your ears.
I like to hear that. I am team Walker. I'm more pro Walker than I am anti Reddick. Let's just say that.
I just feel like going into free agency without stability in your front seven is just an egregious mistake.
Going into the draft.
Yeah, going into the draft.
I agree. You need something, and getting
I need some juice.
Getting an old crusty vet, I think, would help.
Reddick, Sweat, Milton Williams, Osa for the Cowboys. Give me one guy.
Just one guy.
One guy, please, Monti Ossenfort. Gannon also talked about his situation with Kyler Murray, and I asked him point blank. I said, Kyler Murray, lots been made about inconsistency with his play down the stretch. Like, what can you as his head coach help to kind of mitigate that? And here's was his response. Kyler Murray?
Yeah, I think a lot, how we set up practice, how we play the game. There's things that go into that. That's a really good question, Johnny. I don't think it's just the quarterback. It's the whole team. Myself, it's the whole team. But I'm really excited where he's at right now. I really am. And, I'm not going to make any power statements, but he's going to have a hell of a year. I know that.
Not going to make a power statement, but makes a power statement, right?
There's not a bigger Kyler Murray supporter than that man right there.
Yeah. And when he says good year, you have him like that. That's a playoff team. That's more than 21 passing touchdowns, right? I think that he
winning some
that.
big games.
Yep, winning some big games. Mina Kimes told us maybe consistently performing at a clip about 75% instead of 50% of the games. I think that's what they're looking for. And, we're hearing Marvin Harrison Jr. from Monti Ossenfort saying he's been in the facility every day since the end of the season. And I'm sure Kyler Murray's right there with him. So you're hoping to see the continuity pay off as far as this offense that just had struggle clicking throughout it last season.
I think you can sell me on if you make enough improvements up front on the line of scrimmage, like organic continuity improvement with Marv and he and Michael Wilson, like you can sell me on 8 wins to 10, 11 wins. Like that's the path, I think. It's like incremental improvements, not all in, not pushing your chips all in. But then I also do understand like segments of the fan base, like we drafted Kyler Murray to like win a Super Bowls. And we're sitting here and it's like, can you maybe be a playoff quarterback? Like, I think that's also fair criticism. But I also think that if you're still waiting for Kyler Murray, and I've made this statement before, to be the franchise savior first overall, like that, I think that ship has sailed. I think it's time to recalibrate our expectations to, as you said, instead of 21 passing touchdowns, maybe 25, 26 with 8 rushing and, competing for 10, 11 wins. I think that's a good starting point. And I'm not going to scoff on that because I know how this franchise has operated for the last 30-plus years in Arizona. Those double-digit win seasons are few and far between. But then it's becoming, okay, you're winning 10, 11 games with Kyler Murray. What's the next step look like? And you're developing a pipeline and you're drafting well and you're supplementing in free agency. But the big concern for me is if you sit on your hands this next month and you put too much pressure on your draft class again And in NFC West, we're sitting here, and the Niners are linked to Myles Garrett, and the Rams, do everything right off the field, and the Seahawks, all they do is win 9 to 10 games every year.
Mm-hmm.
If your answer is complacency and trusting the process, that's not going to work in the NFC West. This isn't the AFC South, the NFC South. This is big boy football. It's going to take a couple swings this offseason.
Yeah, and it's going to take that player in particular, in Kyler Murray, kind of fulfilling some of the things that have been said about him.
Yeah.
And if you like him having a hell of a season and what that looks like and what we just kind of outlined, when Monti Ossenfort's talking about them going 2-5 down the stretch before those games, for those losses of the 5 or 1-score losses, Kyler Murray adds that to his statistical total. More than likely, those are going to you win those games.
Yeah.
So
One possession game.
Yeah, so it's not wholesale changes. It's just it's really kind of executing in crunch time and getting the job done and putting yourself in a position to do that. And we've talked to so many people. Like our journey kind of really started at the Super Bowl, where we're having constant conversation with every guest we have about Kyler Murray, and there is a common theme. From Patrick Peterson's like, I don't know how to describe or tell him what to do, but he's got to find a way to do it. And that's what was it? Michael Jordan was talking in Game 7 before going up against the Jazz in the Last Dance documentary. He's like, there's those who can and those who can't.
Right.
And is that what it's going to come down to, defining Kyler Murray's career? Because like you said, you're tired of hearing the skill set.
Yeah.
Now you need to see the results.
Gannon also talked about his running back room and a special little nugget about a local product, Bo, that you asked him about. Here's JG on the running backs.
Light it up. Light it up. We have I really see us, if he takes a necessary jump from year 1 to year 2, I think we got 2 starting backs. That's how I kind of view those guys. And you see certain teams out there that have like 2 1s, I would say. I think we should have 2 1s next year. Yeah, Kenny brings it over to me and he says, check this guy out. I'm not through that part of the evaluation process, but I know he lit it up this year. I know he's a really good dude with high football character that loves ball, so that'll be cool to watch him.
Cam Skattebo.
Are you sad that I asked the question and you didn't?
No, I wanted to force you to look at the head coach of our football team and ask about a player that you would prefer the Cardinals maybe don't draft. We're hoping to see Cam Skattebo here in the next couple of days. I
like the comments about Trey Benson, where he's saying, hey, like, if we expect Trey Benson, like many of the players from our rookie class, to take a big jump from year 1 to year 2, and we envision having 2 starting caliber running backs on our team. That's from Jonathan Gannon, by the way. Earlier conversation, I'm an idiot sandwich here. I'm sorry, I've got 2 idiots for pieces of bread. I'm actually the brains.
This
of the
analogy's off the rails already.
It's way gone. But Damon and Johnny trying to tell me that Trey Benson's like a backup caliber running back, that they think the ship has sailed on the 66th overall pick, being able to be the bell cow of this offense.
I was a little nastier than Johnny. I'll
You
put
were.
my hand up here. That being said, what do you want JG to say? Yeah, we think he's a backup and he'll never be good enough to be a starter. I mean, he's going to hype his guy.
No. Come on.
I think Trey Benson is really solid. Are you asking me, did I see special? Did I see David Johnson as a rookie?
I want to make a bet with either one of you.
Get off the internet.
No,
Everybody, speaking of the internet, if you're watching with one of our many streaming partners, jump on over to gophnx.com.
I know where you're going with.
Oh, yeah?
I will make that bet with you after I see where Cam Skattebo gets drafted to.
By the way, if you're not,
here's my bet. By the way,
if you're not subscribed, subscribe.
Shame on you, and shame on you. But subscribe. Trey Benson had 4.6 yards per carry last season.
He was good. He's a good player.
Cam Skattebo will not eclipse that number in his rookie season.
But he'll have more yards. He'll be more productive.
But mine is yards per carry.
I think that's stupid. I think it's about the overall picture of productivity. Trey Benson had 291 yards, Bo. What are we doing? Like some guys have
carries.
Some guys have that in 2 games.
Trey Benson, I mean, is he not a lot of the time he's coming in, tired legs. James Conner just ran all over the defense. That's why he's being out of the game, and now Trey Benson's going up against.
James Conner missed all but one game. No, I'm sorry. He played all but one game last year.
I think Trey
Benson was hurt.
I think Trey Benson's a hell of a compliment to James Conner entering this year. I think Cam Skattebo is going to lead a backfield and be a perennial Pro Bowler in the NFL. I think Cam Skattebo, somebody is going to go to Cam Skattebo and say, take over our backfield. Whereas with Trey Benson, it was understood like, we are slow playing your development. I mean, we watched him in training camp. He had a ways to go. Even Gannon attested to that. It had some time. Cam Skattebo, they're just going to say it's time to line up in Power I, and we're gonna hammer it with Skattebo. Can we just talk about I just feel like Skattebo has a higher ceiling. That's not me knocking Trey Benson. I just think Skattebo has certain.
Why do you hate Trey Benson?
I don't. I just think Skattebo has certain traits in terms of his vision and his, what do you call it? Like his center to gravity when he runs the football. Just stuff that you just can't teach. You're just born with.
Dana's saying athletically, Benson is fine to great.
What's Skattebo? Elite then? Cam Skattebo is about to get in the skivvies and put on a show here. He's going to run the 40. He's going to do the 5-10-5.
Cam has more heart.
Damn right.
That's what Das Libre says.
Damn right.
Bo
He
hates.
wants it more, Bo.
Yeah.
Trey runs a 4.3 and is over 6 feet tall. But no,
Multiple people are
something you can't define. Something that's not going to show up. in
Michael
results.
Evans also citing heart as measurable. Bo hates that. Here's where I'm at. If Cam Skattebo goes to like the Chargers,
I can't believe you're even like entertaining him going elsewhere.
Well,
It's very off-brand.
I mean, like I'm not.
Are you out on Cam?
I'm out on the I don't think the Cardinals are going to draft him. I think they would be. I just made a video
Second
that they
largest
should.
bombshell that I've heard all day and seen all day.
I think the Cardinals should draft him. I don't think they will. I don't think it's like a priority for them. I could be wrong though. We're gonna ask Cam Skattebo later this week. Like, did he meet with the Cardinals? We'll hopefully have that answer for you.
Yeah.
I've got some answers for you pertaining to Jonathan Gannon, who also talked about. So we talked about Kyler Murray. He talked about Skattebo. Oh, that's all we have from PG. So I teased it for nothing.
Yeah, look, I got a tease for you. Absolute bombshell in regards to this program that will leave you really shocked. It will rattle you to your core.
I don't like this.
I didn't like it either.
You might be underselling it.
I'm trying not to. I'm trying to give it
I think that what we're
deserves.
looking at is a clerical error, and Bo can make his argument here.
No, there's no argument to be made. An absolute bombshell that rattled this show. We'll give you all the details here coming up next year on PHNX Cardinals.
Gross.
What are we talking about here?
I'll talk about Circle K.
Okay.
I miss Circle K. My friends at Circle K while I'm here at the Combine. But I know when I'm heading back to the Valley, I'm going to be loading up at America's Thirst Stop via the Inner Circle, the free membership program. So easy to download. Enter your email or phone number to be fully enrolled, and bada bing, bada boom, you're ready to go. All you need is your phone number to get these details. You pull up to the gas tank, save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups, save 3 cents per gallon every single day. Again, Thirst has met its match. They've got original snacks. They've got the Polar Pops for 79 cents. Just go into the Inner Circle Circle K app, look at deals, and it's just a treasure trove right now. I've never needed it more. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details. I've been a little critical of the media room and the complimentary food.
Yeah.
And it just has me hankering for, like, you're on the go and you're just like, I'm just going to go grab something for Circle K.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted that for myself today, and it wasn't available. It makes me sad.
It is sad. But I'm still getting notifications on deals I can get with Circle K.
Smart.
Because I'm a member of the Inner Circle. I love it. Also love our friends over at Sanderson Ford. Get yourself in 2025 in a brand new Ford vehicle from our friends over at Sanderson Ford, who thrive on that no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense sales approach. Sanderson Ford, of course, America's most awarded Ford dealership with complete customer satisfaction. Don't miss Sanderson Ford giving out all the great deals. Offers that include Ford rebates, Sanderson discounts on Conquest Cash, and Flex Buy discounts that you must qualify for. But you got to see the dealer for details. check everything out going on. You know, they just had their President's Day sale. They've got all these great opportunities to really save money and get you into one of their close to 900 vehicles that they have on that 65-acre lot out there in the West Valley. Go check them out. Go tell Ron that PHNX Cardinals sent you, and you just want to learn about these great vehicles. That's all he's going to do. And then if there's something makes sense for you to get into the car of your dreams, the vehicle of your dreams, a Ford F-150, a Bronco Badlands, then let's make a deal. Check them out now. See Anderson Ford, Arizona, of course, been doing it for close to 50 years here in the Valley of the Sun.
I like this comment here. Bo is the Tin Man. He needs to find a heart. He definitely does. Cam Skattebo has heart to spare, and he could give some to Bo Brack. That's all I know.
Just standing there and just grabs a piece of his heart and hands it to me.
That man is going to have such a robust NFL career, and I just hope that we get to play a small part in it, rooting from him locally or from afar. Yeah, Big Bird saying Cam is Rudy. Absolutely, he is Rudy.
Don't say that about Rudy. No, that's disrespectful.
Rudy with talent, man.
Yeah.
And
Actually played.
And that's a dangerous combo.
Actually played.
Oh, man.
You ever heard like Joe Montana talk about Rudy? He was on the same team.
I don't like thinking about that when he rips Rudy.
Yeah, no, they don't like Rudy at all.
No.
They made fun of him.
Dana, oh, sorry, God.
Just saying. I'll just finish the thought. Complete Hollywood fabrication. Go ahead.
I love them. It's got one of the best soundtracks.
Dana put in the chat here that the scat hate is real. You all live in Tucson or something. I'm from Tucson. I'm a U of A guy.
I don't hate
want
scat. My son.
There's no hate.
Oh, you hate
Johnny makes me hate the idea that he's sitting here stumping for scat, where it just
You know what? Here's
doesn't
what
make
we're gonna do.
sense for team building.
Let me break down Bo's ideal offseason. We're gonna start out real nice and slow with a nice Baron Browning, maybe a little bit of Evan Brown. We're gonna do a lot of internal re-signings. Then we're gonna move into the draft, and we're just gonna go milk toast every round. We're just gonna go chalk, right? Maybe a corner, maybe a Princeton pass rusher, right? And we're gonna have the most mid team of all time.
My God, I'm dipping into the Ivy League.
Yeah,
for
we're
my
gonna
pass rush.
maybe a little BC here and there. That's I'm here trying to say, get a marketing phenom, linchpin for your locker room, heart of hearts, Skattebo with a little bit of Haason Reddick. That'll get your juices flowing.
Does James Conner not already provide that?
I think you can never have enough of those guys, and I also think if you were to,
Is that just a cliche? You can never have enough of them. That's what I say.
I'm going to tell you right
Give
now,
me 53.
I know there's a lot of concerns prospect-wise. There's some prospects with character concerns. I believe that if you draft one of those and then you draft Cam Skattebo, that it cancels each other out.
You couldn't even get through that.
If James Pierce Jr. is a bad guy, just draft Cam Skattebo and it cancels each other out. Not Mike Green. The stuff we're hearing about Mike Green, it's too bad. Skattebo couldn't even clean that up.
Man, team building with Johnny Venerable.
It's like, oh, character concerns, scat him up. Let's get Cam, start running until you throw up again.
Positive and negative, and then they just, there you go.
Things are going well here. Drop a like on this video. We got almost 300 people watching live on YouTube alone. The goal is 500 likes here. If you're watching on Twitter, by the way, jump on over to YouTube as the fun continues. You're gonna put me on shame here. I'm gonna give you the floor.
I'm not. I didn't want to. I didn't want to put you on shame. I really didn't.
That's okay. That's disingenuous.
It was just something that came to my attention. It was brought to my attention by Shane Diefenbach.
Oh, no one wants to do this.
No, not at all. As everybody knows, we are abstaining from 3, we'll call it vices.
Yeah.
Until the Arizona Cardinals make a big move this offseason. And the earliest I think we can expect that is the tampering period. I think we'll all agree once the reports come out and a big report comes our way, we can break this so-called fast. And, I slept like crap last night despite, my nice accommodations. And I couldn't turn to caffeine this morning.
No one wants to hear about that.
And I've held strong, no caffeine for the 2+ weeks.
That's big of you, too, because this is a grind out here, and you need caffeine out in Indianapolis at the Combine. The fact that you're braving the elements without it is big of you.
Get a room, guys.
And
Gross.
then Damon, when the wee hours of the morning that we got in from our flight, long travel day, made sure he got into the gym last night.
How long is this story?
Long story short, we get a break here in Indy. And we go to a local Starbucks, and Johnny is allowed to have caffeine. I'm not. He rudely invites me so he can rub my nose in it.
I offered to buy you a pastry.
That he's indulging in the sweet caffeine.
Yeah.
And it completely over my head. He orders. Not only does the barista get his order wrong, but reads it back to him.
I was respectful to her when she did that.
And then he said, no, it was an iced thing. And he got an iced latte. And we're walking out, and Shane Diefenbach, high-level awareness, his Madden rating for awareness is high. He points out that Johnny's drinking a mocha.
What's in a mocha?
So, number one, first of all,
Johnny, who's supposed to be abstaining from sweet treats, anything with sugar over 10 grams. And he's saying, well, no, that's not what a mocha is.
It was sugar-free. I said it needed to be skinny. I needed crushed mocha beans. It's very similar to the dark chocolate bitters that you get. Here's what I'm going to say right now.
He consumed at least half of it.
No! that is a crackhead. You know what? Oh, my God.
At least 2 fits. At least 2 fits.
We have it on camera. We'll pull the footage for the vlog. I had maybe 2 sips of this. And then you should have seen these two Nancy boys get in my face, tell me that I was shaming the competition. I took my $9 latte via a clerical error, and I threw it in the trash. And I said, fine, you're going to complain about this, even though, number one, it was not very good. I just needed the caffeine. And I'm going to explain to everybody why I needed the caffeine here in a minute. Bo leaving out integral details of my night last night and my morning this morning, which we will get to.
Oh, what about it? Damon, make the point you made when you first heard this bombshell.
I just was in complete and utter shock.
2 weeks into this thing, and he's just willy-nilly.
No.
Checking.
What was your point?
Just that.
Was this the first time he was a violator of this?
We have no idea. He might have been ordering mochas this whole time.
I don't know who you think I are.
Check the tape.
I don't know.
Check the tape of every PHNX Cardinals. Johnny's drinking something, and I always ask him what's in that cup.
I don't know who you think I are. Who I am. I'm drinking at home just straight black coffee with a little bit of creamer in it. I'm not going to Starbucks every day.
It went in a mocha. You told me multiple times.
35 grams of sugar in a grande, according to Dana.
That was not. That was number one. I drank like 2 sips. Number 2, I asked for sugar-free, and number 3, it did not have chocolate syrup in it. So
it's a mocha.
But they did it a different way. It did not have chocolate syrup. Listen, we'll call a spade here. It's a clerical error, but I didn't consume it, and I threw it away. So I don't even know what we're talking about.
You're impure.
No. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely
at the point. Like, has this are they gonna make a move? Is this tarnished?
It feels like bad karma for sure.
Yeah, I think this is ridiculous.
If you're a diehard, you were in our Discord. You saw me last night, 2:08 Indy time in the gym, putting in work in the lab for the boys because I'm committed to this program and what we have to accomplish here. Bo, braving the elements.
Look at me. I got bags under my eyes. I'm exhausted.
Okay, I'm going to set the scene for everybody here. Last night we get in, okay? It's after 1 in. Everybody has a bed. Everybody here has a physical bed to sleep in.
Including you.
Bo and Shane, over 6 feet. Damon and I say, you guys take the private bedrooms with in Bo's case, the adjoining private bathroom for himself. Damon has a physical pull-out bed via a couch. And I say, Damon, you go ahead and take that. What do? I go into a musky closet. There is a what equates to almost just an upgrade over cardboard that looks like it was done during World War II. A mattress that is not even an inch tall, scrunched up with mold on
it. Which I think was actually, in World War II. It wasn't just the barracks. It was for, like, injured soldiers.
Right, correct, yes.
Yeah, wounded soldiers.
And it was stuffed behind some linens in the closet. That's what I slept on last night. We put some sheets on it. It is what we like to call a children's cot. It equates to about my size, a little bit less. Okay. There was some hangover. Additionally, I woke up this morning, 7 o'clock, set my alarm. Shane and Bo, like little boys, like little rats, raced to the shower, used up all the hot water. Damon and I did not have hot water to shower this morning. I waited over 75 minutes this morning until 8:15, and at that point, I'm like, I guess I'm rinsing my body off with tap water. That's what I've been dealing with. So excuse me as I am grinding for content today and made an order at Starbucks. By the way, I offered to buy Bo and Shane something. They declined. I get a $9 Starbucks, right? There was a clerical error involved. I threw it away, and everybody get your pitchforks out. I'm gonna make a statement here. You guys may not know this. I'm a human being. I'm a human being, and today was not a good day for me. Yet all the phenomenal content on full display, knowing the rigors and the elements I've had to deal with. And by the way, this is night one. There is no guarantee that the hot water is going to work moving forward, and there's certainly no guarantee that my accommodations are going to be improved. I'm on a children's cot in the middle of the living room with an open suitcase. I don't want to hear about a couple sips out of a grande mocha, which, by the way, I requested be sugar-free.
Bo, I'd like to rebuttal here for a second.
No, cut his mic. Cut his mic.
I control the mics, actually. Yeah. I don't know if you knew that.
Cut it.
Johnny says, out of the kindness of his own heart, he offers me the pull-out couch.
Yeah. Yep.
Did I, yes or no, yes or true, Johnny?
Yes or true. That's the same thing.
Yes or true, did I switch seats with you on the plane twice?
Oh, wow.
Twice, so that you could
that.
sit with everybody else instead of having to sit by yourself.
I asked to switch seats with Damon so I could grind content with Shane and Bo on the airplane.
Grind content.
Yeah. Content brainstorming
Shane was
session.
just taken back by that claim that he wanted to grind content. Instead, he watched.
Listen,
he streamed
Damon
the entire time.
Damon, selfless act by you, and you were repaid by the football gods on the second time because you got to sit by nobody. You got an ILC gifted to you.
That's good karma.
Yeah, that's right. And you didn't see me complaining for a couple rows behind, yelling at you. I didn't do that.
You did.
None of that happened.
Secondly, I would like to say that I don't know. I'm disappointed, Johnny. I really am.
It is. I mean, and Rafa makes a good point. It's like, so all of this, and you just decided, hey, it's fair game for me to cheat?
No, that wasn't it at all. Listen, you guys, I'm not going to have this become a thing. You either have to decide that you're going to put your big boy pants on and understand that it was a clerical error that I immediately remedied, that it didn't have any sugar in it anyway. You're either going to trust that and believe me.
I didn't think we were dealing with like big time himbo issues.
You ain't even going to trust that, believe me?
You understand what goes into a mocha, where the main ingredient is chocolate syrup.
Not in this one, though. There wasn't any. Here's what I'm going to say.
Not in this one, then it's not a mocha. It's a latte.
Here's where I'm at. We're either gonna move on because we have another challenge tomorrow. I'm not gonna hear about this mocha for 265 days like I've heard about this steak. You bet your ass that's not happening. It's like one demon at a time here. We can either collectively say, okay, we're putting this to bed. We understand the situation. It didn't compromise and taint anything that's ridiculous.
Look, Eris, they weren't using any cocoa powder. I saw make it. And
yes, they were.
Just watch any barista at Starbucks.
Aris, you're exactly right.
Syrup.
Now, Aris, that's exactly right. No chance.
Yeah.
No chance. It was cocoa powder, is chalky in my mouth. It was like it was like workout protein powder. That's what it was.
Here's what actually I wanted to say, Johnny. You're complaining about the water situation. Did I? Yes or no? Yes or true? I'll do it again. Did I take a cold shower this morning?
Damon, you've done a phenomenal job.
Tunnel vision, Johnny.
Damon, don't.
One goal.
I thought we were friends. Don't become my enemy here. I've got enough enemies to my left. I did not cheat. There was no cheating.
Zach just straight up calling it out. JV cheated. And that's just something that, you're just going to have to work your way back.
If I was going to cheat, don't you think if I was going to cheat, I would eat like a big piece of cake in privacy?
But that's what makes you even more diabolical.
No. I didn't cheat.
You do this act like, oh, I didn't know mocha had chocolate in it.
It's not at all the case. I knew everything. I know everything that goes into my body. My body's a temple. All right, like this video as I take my co-host to task here.
In the comments, did Johnny cheat? And we're gonna have to make a decision here. Like, are we so impure now? Do we go forward?
They're saying I have to do an extra day. Too Slim Shady. So if the Cardinals break their vice, I have to wait an extra day. I don't have a problem with that.
No, I want to celebrate together. I don't want to rob you of that. I don't want to.
You're already robbing me of my dignity on the show right now.
Yeah, just put an asterisk.
Yeah,
Let's just
I
put
know,
an
because then
asterisk
I'm
to Johnny.
If you're gonna do that, I'm gonna get a dessert at dinner tonight.
That's a great point.
No,
we'll put an asterisk by it. Damon and I completed it, and then you completed it with an asterisk.
No, then I'm just gonna start eating sweets right now. Where are those cookies from earlier? Subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Tomorrow's show, the NFL PA grades are coming out. Will there be hell to pay for Michael Bidwell and company? We hope not. We hope everything's moving up. Incremental improvements. The Cardinals were 31st, then they moved into the late 20s last year. Do you think they could break the top 20 this year?
I don't think so.
No. I think like sweet spot maybe like 20, 22, 23. 22, 23.
Yeah, I think that their best case they're looking at like 23.
Where do you think the Cardinals will fall with the NFL PA grades? We got so much supplemental content. Be sure to subscribe here to PHNX Sports on YouTube. And, of course, all the behind-the-scene footage, all the goodies is taking place at the PHNX Cardinals member Discord. We've dropped about 10 videos combined over the last 2 days between the four of us, and there's more to come. The tomfoolery continues for Shane, Damon, Bo. I'm Johnny Venerable. We'll see you. Man, yeah, get that out of my face.
We all silly like the mayor.